All right. Good. There we are. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to our earnings coverage for today. Good afternoon, Peter. We have Brian. We have Jared. We got the whole gang here for today's earning coverage. So welcome back, guys. Those who are on YouTube, and also just want to make sure our chat can hear us okay and they can see us. Perfect. All right. So welcome back, guys. Peter, how's it going? How was your day today?
Like I said, I didn't have a lot of time to focus on the markets. I had a lot going on here outside of the markets, so I missed some of the fun move. I was watching Microsoft, good fun move this afternoon. Wasn't able to catch that, but yeah, it looks like there was a couple of things in play. It was funny. I was just looking at myself a second ago. As we were waiting to go live, I felt like one of those little kids that realizes the camera's on them, because I was looking stunned into the camera and then suddenly realized that I'm on camera, and you're like,
say hello.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
My daughter, we always used to joke, my youngest child, she was like photogenic, where it didn't matter, you could not sneak up on her in a camera. It's somehow, no matter how you took a picture of her, it was always a wonderful picture. Like, you think she's like shoving her face with food or something, and you think, I'm gonna get this gross picture of her, and you go to take the picture, and then when you see the picture, somehow she's like, like it's always perfectly poised. Like, how did she do that? Trying to get a picture of the back of her head. Somehow she's always doing this.
She is definitely ready. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We also got Jared and Brian. Welcome, guys. Good to have you here as we go through our earnings for today. So let's get right into it. We got two ones that we're talking about today. Rigetti. How can we not do an earnings call on Rigetti? I mean, we make fun of the stock so much. We have to do this. So we got Rigetti, and is it Marvell or Marvel? I never know how to pronounce this one. If you guys can correct me, that would be great. But we got MRVL today as well, which both have been actually pretty active today and also the last hour or so. So we'll see what drives these two this afternoon. All right, let's get right to it. So, Peter, let's talk about Rigetti. We make fun of this stuff, Rigetti spaghetti or whatever you want to call it. But today's their earnings. Looking forward to see how they're going to play out today. What's the latest and greatest with these guys? Obviously, we talk about them a lot, so we know a lot of what's going on. But anything new?
I'm still waiting for my call from Mr. Rigetti. Hasn't reached out to either compliment or reprimand me for our conversations on it. But, anytime I'm right here, you can, reach out. Peter at bearabletraders.com. Hopefully I'll hear from you soon. But anyways, look, this has been an amazing trading stock, really, considering the size of the company and considering sort of the background here. Like, this is a stock with a decent float, 230 million shares in the float, but it's been trading consistently like 50 million shares a day. Over the last couple of days has actually been declining. We're sitting at about 33, 34 million right now, so we're probably not going to end much over. We won't end over 40 by the end of today. But the average volume has been so high, this has just been in play. And that's been a good stock. Really outsized compared to the size of the company. I mean, the earnings that we're looking for, we're looking at them reporting $2.4 million in revenue this quarter. That's what the consensus number is, right? This is a company that by market capitalization is supposed to be around 1.9 billion in market capitalization, but reporting 2.4 million in revenue. Really, this is an anemic early stage company, right? Like, we've got to remember that, as fun as it is and however much volume it trades. So earnings, frankly, the actual numbers are largely irrelevant. They're expected to deliver an 8-cent loss per share in this quarter. Again, does it really matter? Not really on that level of revenue, right? Really what everybody wants to know is, where is the development process? What is the technology looking like? When do we get the next, sort of big announcement, the big estimate as to when are going to be ready for sort of primetime production. That's what everybody wants out of all of these quantum computing type companies. So it's always interesting when you get some of the announcements where somebody's testing it. We were talking earlier this week about one of their competitors in IonQ that was going into test with the U.S. military at their military research center. That was somewhere in New York, Rome, New York. There you go.
Yep. Yep.
But that's not Rigetti, right? That was IonQ. But that's the type of news that moves us. So I don't know what to expect out of earnings, Carlos. Like, we haven't had a lot of experience on earnings. I think it's going to be pretty mild, to be honest. Despite the volume we get during the trading day, I expect after hours volume to be very light. Maybe we'll get surprised and this thing will move a little more than expected. We'll find out. Earnings are at, actually, I don't even know what time. I just have after close here. So, frankly, this is so relatively immature. We don't even have a specific time when earnings are coming out. So, let's hope it happens a couple minutes after 4, but I can't tell you. I don't know if it's 4:05 or 5. Like, unfortunately, at this point, so we'll see. From a stock performance, I mean, as you can see on the chart here, it's been in a downturn largely for the last month or so. February has been slowly moving down, but we have to remember where this thing started from, right? Like, just at the end of last year, or let's say November of last year, this is a $1 stock that went all the way up 20-fold to $20. And sure, it's come back down to only $8, but it's still much more valuable than it was only 4 months ago. And it looks like there's good opportunity, but you know what? Who knows? It could crash and burn, right? Someone either will beat them to the punch first, right, and have a technology they can't keep up with. They'll run out of money. Their technology investment or direction won't work. Like, there's lots of things that could affect this, positive or negative. We just have to wait and see.
Yeah, yeah, we sure do, man. And again, we're early. This is could be one of those
Yeah.
stocks that 5 years from now it'll be trading at 250 about after a couple of splits.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's early, but this is how they start, man. At $8,
It,
getting a lot of attention. All these ion quantum stocks. They got also they got like either an expo or some kind of event coming up. I believe at the
they
end of this
do.
month. And all
Yeah.
we want to hear is, you're right, Peter. We want to hear what the future looks like. What is the future outlook? What have you done that can affect? Because we don't hear a lot about these quantum companies. So in Rigetti, IonQ, QBTS is coming up, I think, in a couple of weeks too. It's gonna be what's the future look like and how can we take advantage of it? But yeah, they're fun companies, man. We'll have to see how this one plays out today. Let's go to Jared. Jared, what do you have as far as expected move, if anything? I know it could be light here, but let's see what Jared has. Good afternoon. How you doing?
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you so much. Yeah, so RGTI, obviously technicals are relatively clear just because they're so darn wide on this thing, but we can see that February has been drawing back. In reference though, we do also have the, I would say, top end crash that we saw from some of the comments from Jensen Huang and NVIDIA. We have the low, which of course caused a huge rebound on the price action. And then we're just kind of trickling back to our more recent lows, I would say post crash lows. Um, One of the things I was looking for here with this being a lower price stock is it does have about $1.50 expected move. And it's an $8 stock. So that's already putting it almost at 20% higher or lower, which is pretty significant. I mean, anytime a stock gaps 20% higher or lower, it's usually going to fall into like radars of gappers and all kinds of things. Um, it puts the expected move at 9.5 to the upside because we're looking to close right around 8 exactly. It puts the expected move low at 6.5. And when you look at 6.5, that should be a pretty clean support. It's the crash low. It's where the buyer kind of stepped up in more recent trade. And then even historically, I would say 6.5 was kind of like a really hard spot to clear initially before this run up occurred. So there's a lot of relevance maybe with the lower tiers of the expected move. The upper expected move, I think, is more interesting, and this is why this might be one to maybe watch, especially tomorrow. I see my camera's kind of getting fuzzy here. Let's see if I can clear it up. Um, you have to be looking inside the option market for this little bit of news, or sorry, a little bit of information. When I look at the call side of the market, it's elevated, and it's mostly elevated today, which tells me that a lot of trade is going on specifically at 10. That is much more impactful from an option perspective if the stock were to reach those prices. For context, I mean, 35,000 contracts traded today is a lot. But more importantly, is that a lot in general? For this stock, we have only traded 105,000 contracts across every option series. So the total number of calls all day is 105,000, and 35,000 are at 10 for the next 2 days, at least from a volume perspective. Like, I don't know if this is all going to be closed at the end of the session. So somewhere in this marketplace, someone believes that we're going to get to 10, because that is pretty much a third of all the call buying today on this stock. And when you're considering across the entire earnings chain and across other series, I mean, just looking at 3 and 5,000 lots across the board, a third of it is trading at 10. So I'm kind of thinking this is a bullish lean on this one, a slightly higher than the expected. And I'd be more interested to see what happens if we get above 10, because then we'll have basically some market making dynamics to drive the stock even further. But for now, I would say 10, a really golden price to be thinking about. If we do move lower, 6.5, and obviously the low of the crash. So some obvious technical targets, but a really clear strike price target too.
Awesome. I am again, full disclosure. I am long on quantum stuff. So I hope it's good news and that we can get a move up, because I would like to make this position count. I'm long on QBTS at 590, and I missed adding on yesterday. I want to get a much larger position because I don't know, man. This could be the future. I want to be in. I don't want to miss out. I got some FOMO here, so I wanna see this in a year or two from now do very, very well. All right. So that is Ion. I'm sorry, that's Rigetti, which is a quantum stocks for those just joining us now. Thanks, Jared. Peter, let's look at Marvell. Marvell? Is that how you
Marvell,
say?
yes.
Marvell Technologies. These guys been very active the last couple of days. So you can see here we are up 1.5 this morning, 17 million shares traded, which is around what they do per day. But activity overall on the intraday has been very, very exciting today. So what we got going on with this company, and what's the latest and greatest?
Well, Marvell's a technology play. This is more of an AI play, not quantum. They're a chip manufacturer, and you know what? It's hard to know what to expect of these guys. Not one of the ones that we typically day trade quite regularly, just because it doesn't get the volume as much as some of the others. Today, they're sitting at about $18 million. Sorry, 18 million shares of traded volume, which is about on average. I would say by the time the day closes, they'll be slightly over the average. But if you look at the trading activity, it's pretty hard to sort of get good, sort of momentum based trades on Marvell. If you're going to trade AI, of course, we all know, right? There's all the fun ones: Nvidia, AMD, Intel, even SMCI. So there's all those. That being said, Marvell is rated one of the better opportunities. There's a lot of sort of, I don't want to call them niche players, but maybe fringe players to the main competitors in this space that have opportunity. I don't know what to think about them from a fundamental point of view. I mean, this sector is all over the place. If you look at the semiconductor sector, I mean, PE, price earning ratio, right, is one of the things that often is looked at for, is the company over or undervalued? And how do you rate that right now? Because, like, for anybody that knows me, I love trading Nvidia, and I scratch my head all the time at SMCI, for example. Well, Nvidia trades at a PE ratio currently of about 20. right? Whereas SMCI trades at a PE ratio of about 10, which would say that it's actually under or much more fairly valued, anyways, than Nvidia. But it's, but doesn't Nvidia feel like a better bet even at this price level? AMD, Intel, both sitting around 15 or 16 from a PE ratio. All that being said, Marvell's PE is about 32, which puts it significantly over all those other ones that I mentioned right now. Does that mean it's significantly overvalued at these prices? Well, I mean, look, the market's never wrong, right? So whatever the price is what the market has determined is the correct price for this stock. That being said, when we look at the daily, you can certainly see that this stock is sitting just under $90 here today, whereas it's been as high as about $125 or $130 if you go back to the beginning of this calendar year. So there certainly is room for price improvement on this, and it's got some big gaps to fill. If this thing can get up over $97, $98, there's a big gap that was set back in its earnings in the last quarter, right, end of November, where this thing gapped up to well over 100 from about 98 to 110 or so. And Carlos, we can see that back on the daily. If we go back and show the December numbers, you can see that gap in there in December. Yeah, right there, right in the middle of the chart. So yeah, I do think this thing has got room to move, despite the fact that technically you could consider it overvalued. I don't think there's going to be a big announcement. This doesn't feel like the type of quarter or environment in which Marvell is going to come up with massive, announcements in their AI technology. I could be wrong, but that's my gut, because a lot of the talk, of course, has been on my phone going off. It's 1 to 10 time. Let me turn that off. 1 second.
1 to 10. All right. Let's see if Peter can
1 to
find a
10
1 to
time.
10 strategy.
Yeah. But all the talk has been on the technology, the Chinese-based technology out there, right? And it's overshadowed a lot of the North American-based companies like Marvell. And in fact, I was just reading a quote that I thought this was fascinating. Oh no, I closed it. Where the China spokesperson for the Chinese government was saying how DeepSeek is an open source AI, and I'll have to paraphrase, that showcases Chinese innovation and Chinese thought leadership in the world, and I just sort of made me think, interesting. Are they, anyways, are they saying that DeepSeek promotes Chinese perspectives? But then again, I'm thinking maybe North American AI tools promote North American perspectives. Tough to say, right? I mean, it's one of those things where
Yes.
any AI tool right now, by the way, just as an aside, we all need to be cautious with, because there's a lot of tests that people do when they counter test things, and AI will regularly lie to you right now. Like, it's fascinating if AI gives you, like, if you query it to say, give me some facts, and then you challenge the facts, you can often get the AI to tell you, you know what, I made that up, sorry. So I find that fascinating. So, clearly these tools and our understanding of how to leverage them are in their infancy. If we're talking about earnings on Marvell, all of that is irrelevant. All that matters is, are they going to be able to produce the next chipset that is going to create opportunity for them as a company and continue to drive the segment? That feels like this is probably not the quarter where they're going to announce it. That's just my feel, but who knows?
Yeah, yep, absolutely. Let's go to Jerry on some of these expected moves here for Marvell.
All right. So Marvell is a little easier to read. Technicals aside, I've got the expected move priced at plus or minus 10. And the stock is looking to close right at 90. So thank you for making the math easy on me, Marvell. Upper expected move is going to be 100. Lower expected move right at 80. Peter kind of called out the last earnings and the huge gap up that we saw. A lot of that was obviously sold. And then we're trading slightly lower than the previous earnings day. So the day before earnings, we're trading under that price. Some of the larger technicals have some relevance. So I was kind of zooming a little further out in time, and we can kind of see some old historical all-time highs, somewhere in the 90 range is kind of where we're trading. So you can almost imagine if you're, at all-time highs in 2022, they're backing up to it for the first time after a pretty large breakout that we saw. And 100 would put us right back to where they started to break down. So I would say the edge of either our more recent distribution or our most recent like supply area versus a real back test of some of the largest resistance points that we had in historical time. Um, it really puts this stock in almost a no man's land of reactionary points, but it would be good to move to 80 or 100 and see what sort of reaction we get. So I'm very much ideal on I'm looking forward to trading this one potentially because those are nice psychological prices and we could get a reaction off of them. So you might get two there and you might get away from it too. Um, unlike RGTI, nothing really stands out on the option chain. I mean, there are some larger players postured at 80 and at 100 as far as the open interest and the volume, but it's not necessarily a huge standout in the difference in size. A lot of it is OI as well, which kind of tells me that that trade either has been on the option chain for longer than a day and maybe has some other relevance besides earnings. Um, I would also say that it's also not the largest OI, especially on the call side. Some of the largest OI actually sits at about 95. So, there's volume at 100, there's large OI at 95. And then as far as downside protection, it looks as if they're centered around 82 to 80. So I think the expected move is a good gauge of where to expect this thing to move to. And really, we're going to see if there's a reaction there or if there's anything indicative of a breach. But hopefully that's a little bit of use for the trade about to come. And like I said, I think RGTI was a little more interesting on the option side, but this one is a normal looking option chain, so it's very in line.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Marvell
Thanks,
getting
Jared.
a boost up right now.
Yeah, it's been active all day, really. I mean, down to 85, made its way up to 90. You can see it going higher here. So it's been definitely active today. So yeah, looking forward to a 95. It's a pretty good move. So let's see how we get there. Um, and as far as Rigetti, what is Rigetti up to before we get into the close here? Peter, did you find any 1 to 10, or were you able to find anything?
It was a great 1 to 10 trade on Microsoft today. Microsoft was my stock. I didn't get it because I was busy talking, but what a lovely move. Push down, pop
Yeah.
up.
All right, Microsoft
Oh
been on
well.
a tear today, man. This stock has been
I
just
know.
ripping here, so looking really nice. A lot of stuff that was in the red or just kind of stuck in the middle, moved up pretty good today. I mean, quickly, if we look at my list, we had Baba. That was awesome. Tesla, not so much.
Oh, look
mRNA.
at that.
People were asking, like, oh, why you have mRNA on my list? This is why. Look how well that traded. Uh,
David J. Got to give credit to David J. There. Look at that. Beautiful trade on Microsoft. Took the 1 to 10, delivered to perfection. Well done, my friend. I'm glad to see somebody took it. So nice.
Very
Nice, nice,
nice.
nice.
Over on YouTube, guys, if you want to know about that 1 to 10, you can always join for $1 and go to our education center. We have 29 strategies now. Every time I go, there's a new strategy. So we got 29 now. You can learn about the 1 to 10 and other strategies. The mountain pass that Peter has there. It's a bunch of different strategies you can learn. So you can kind of get the ins and out on how to trade those strategies. So, all right, let's get into this close and see how things are looking for today. Let's take a look at the SPY, see how we're closing. The SPY, again, nice bounce back day today after a lot of selling, Brian.
Yeah, we had a nice reversal, sort of around. I guess I always have to be aware of what's going on between 12 and 1. It seems like traders either get amped up or they get amped up and do one thing or the other. In this case, they came back from their lunches and started buying. So I think some of that is reflection of there was some good news about the tariffs. I think they're delaying tariffs on the three big car makers for another month.
Yeah.
Not really Not really sure where it's going to go after that, but
Nobody
still
is.
lots of tariff talk.
Yeah, a lot of changes. This is why I mentioned earlier this
Yeah, I
morning.
don't know.
I really like what the Mexican president did. She's like, okay, the tariffs are in the U.S. are in place. Let's wait until Sunday. She's like, I'm not gonna announce anything until Sunday. Let's not jump yet and see where the cars actually land, which makes sense because we're
Yeah,
changing our mind a lot here in the U.S. So let's see how it goes. But it affects us obviously. Look at the SPY, how it's moved today and how it's moved over the last couple of days. This has all been politics. It hasn't really been any. There was some economic news probably like about a week ago, I believe, with some numbers not doing so hot. But all of this up and down, it's all tariffs, right? So we've been definitely taking advantage
yeah.
of a lot of this, so which is
Yeah.
fun for us day traders.
Well, it's just, it's kind of strange because I just saw a headline about President Trump complaining that Canada hasn't done enough for the fentanyl. But, looking at the US statistics, only I think 1% of the fentanyl coming into the US illegally comes through Canadian borders. And I think over the last month or two, it's even less. It's like almost nothing.
Yeah, but see,
So I just,
the
it's,
the war on drugs doesn't, you're not gonna stop drugs, right? This is something that's been proven over a
yeah,
long
well,
period of times.
I don't,
People are gonna find a way to get the drugs, right? It's just it doesn't work. It doesn't work. We
yeah,
spend the more money you spend, the more drugs gets in. It's just it's drugs. You're not gonna
Just
stop
say
them.
no.
Just
yeah,
it's unfortunate, but
yeah,
it is what it
yeah.
is.
In Canada isn't really the problem. Anyway, there's lots, like you said, lots of politics going on here. So we'll see how it all shakes out. I'm
Yep.
not, uh, I'm not concerned.
Same, man. We're not worried. All right, let's couple of minutes before the market close here. Let's see. We don't have information on Rigetti on when they report, Peter, but do we have
No,
Marvell?
no. Marvell should be at 4:05, 5 minutes after the close here.
Ah, okay. Let's go look at that one nicely here.
I'm
Let's
I'm
see.
thinking Tesla's going to be a good swing trade overnight. Is what
Long or short? Because your weekly thing said you're
I think
you're
long.
you're very very short bias on it. You're long.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, I'm short bias, but news on the
All
cars,
right.
Tesla going out
Here we
fairly
go.
strong today. I think that I think it's going to, unless some weird stuff comes up overnight. Um, yeah, PLTR looked pretty positive. Tesla looked pretty positive. I've taken a few options overnight on Tesla.
All right,
Some
let's see
uh
here.
some notes about RGTI. I was kind
Yep.
of looking back at how Ion Q traded after its earnings because Ion Q dropped. Um, it's weird with the quantum stocks. Ion Q was our first one to report earnings post crash, and they are the only ones to break the crash lows so far. Like QBTS and RGTI are still above it. So as much as what I saw on the call side, I'm hoping this one kind of bucks that trend and maybe puts a positive spin back into those smaller quantum names. Um,
Right.
so just something to keep in mind. I was taking a quick glance at IonQ and kind of remembering that that was our first of the quantum stocks to report this period. So you can see that the expected move here was breached to the downside after some trade took place after earnings.
All right, let's see. Nothing on these two yet.
No. Volume is dropped right off as soon as the bell hit on both of them. Seeing very minimal volume.
See what the action is.
No news. No news
Oh,
on either one at this point.
awesome.
Is that Dave and Buster reporting? Dave and Buster's? Man, I haven't been there in such a long time.
No, it's not Dave and Buster's.
Oh, it's
I
not?
thought it
Okay.
was too.
I'm like,
It's
all
not.
right. Good times.
It's a bank. It's a
Oh, okay.
some sort of bank, and
What
Yeah.
are you looking at?
Dave.
Dave.
We thought it was Dave and
Where's-
Buster's, but it's not. It's a different company.
I don't even see that on my list of reporting stocks here.
Benzinga just put it on just came on the Benzinga line.
Okay.
What is the
Yeah.
Dave and Buster's stock since we're talking about it,
Play.
Jared?
PLAY.
Play.
Ah,
that's
yeah,
right.
Play.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They really missed their chance to grab the Dave ticker. They could have nabbed it, but they went with Play.
Well, you don't have. Maybe the Dave company has been around for a long time.
It's true. Dave might be older than Dave and Buster's. I'm not sure.
Dave is a software application company. Dave Inc. Let's see. How long has Dave
2016.
been around?
Dave is showing 2022 maybe.
Yeah, Dave is pretty recent.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was available, it looks like. I guess they decided to go with the Play. You know, there are eras in this stuff too, right? Where you don't necessarily want to name the stock after the company. You want to name it after what you do at certain points in
True.
time versus. So, you know, it depends on what was in vogue whenever they initiated it.
True.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Play. It's a great ticker name too.
Play's not a bad one. Yeah.
They should have named Rigetti SPGI for spaghetti, because that's what's in play right now.
I'm
Bunch of
sure
noodles.
they were not thinking about that, but yes. As we
Spag,
wait for
SPAG.
for them to report here, let's see.
All right, still not seeing volume on either one of these. We're just sort of wasted time, everybody, because we're waiting. Hopefully, in the next 30 seconds, we will get Marvell numbers out, get some movement. Although, you know, we don't really anticipate significant volume on either one of these two stocks, so we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, agreed. Again, for me on Rigetti's just for tomorrow, really to see what their future forecast looks like.
Good
what they
guy,
got
like
going
I
on.
noticed.
Huh? What was that?
That's okay. Sorry.
Oh, good.
Right. Looking at Marvell, 405.
All right, let's see.
Here we go. Oh, $5 drop,
Ouch.
$6 drop.
And going. There it is, right to
Still
one of the
no,
lows.
I mean, more volume, but not huge volume. Yeah, it's clearly somebody's not happy with what they heard.
We're approaching.
Somebody's not
80.
happy.
Yeah.
Approaching 80 here on the expected.
Just watching, seeing what kind of reaction we're getting. Looks like Nvidia's dropping a bit here. The Qs are dropping a bit.
Yeah, I see Nvidia dropping there.
And Tesla's
All right.
been rallying after the close.
Here's the actual numbers. They beat on sales, 1.8 million versus 1.79 anticipated, and they actually beat on bottom line earnings. They delivered 60 cents a share versus an anticipated 59 cents a share. So with both those numbers being positive, I have to assume the next thing I'm going to hear is that their forward-looking guidance was not up to analyst expectations. Don't have that information yet, but that's my assumption, because to beat your numbers and to drop is, well, that's the usual cause. So we'll see what happens here. They've now breached 80, down, hit this low of 79, 78.88, in fact. Ugh, and lower, 78.50. Yikes. What, Brian, say it.
Man, this is
My God, the humanity.
it is dropping.
There you go.
Yeah.
What I was waiting for.
we need to get a recording of that so we could play whenever we need it.
Exactly. It's got to be like one of those buttons we can smack.
Yeah, one of those hot buttons there.
Yeah.
All right.
Sell. Buy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Most of the downside bid just got filled on a Marvell. I'm trying to see if anyone's gonna buy it back, but we're a little bit beyond the expected move here, so be a good time to maybe pay attention to see if there's further downside or not. I do see
I see Rigetti
I
moving.
see ask moving with the market, so yeah, it feels as if they're trying to drive it much lower right now.
Did Rigetti? Someone mentioned Alicera. You mentioned Rigetti is at 5 p.m., but I see a little bit of movement now on
Yeah,
it. Not a
Rigetti's
whole
moving
lot.
down too. 40-cent move. Keep in mind, it's only an $8 stock, so.
Not a lot of volume on Rigetti. I don't know if that move is anything. Might just be
And
price.
Marvell hasn't stopped yet. Breached
Hmm.
77 on the way down here. It's
Kind of re-entering back into, you know, major breakout points historically, somewhere in the mid 20 or late 2024 period the stock broke out. Or sorry, 2023. Can't be 2024. Is it? No, it is 2024. Sorry. Yeah, late 2024. I thought this was more price action.
hmm. So Marvell. It's
Well,
yeah, not looking good. And like you said, Jared, on Rigetti, probably not really indicative. The price is right back up now. It dropped,
Hmm.
popped back to where we started roughly. So, yeah.
Finally see some buying
it's
on
kind of popping
Marvell,
up.
but the ask keeps coming down to the price on a lot of these rallies, so it still feels pretty heavy.
Hmm. Yeah. So on Marvell, the forecast wasn't horrible to be honest, but look, analyst expectations on revenue, for example, 1.87 billion. They guided at 1.78 to 1.97, which basically puts the estimate at the midpoint, but opens the door to them potentially underachieving revenue. Likewise, on their earnings, bottom line earnings for the first quarter of this year, Marvell sort of basically guided the expectation was 60 cents. They guided 56 to 66, which puts that estimate again roughly at the midpoint. So, I think, we're seeing, maybe an overreaction, but certainly a reaction to that guidance that wasn't completely over top of the analyst expectations, which always makes me shake my head. But that's the way the world works now, right? If you don't blow the doors off it, especially in what's considered a hot sector like AI, you're going to be punished, not rewarded. So here
Yeah,
they
I
are.
think I think that's exactly you kind of hit the nail on the head there, Peter. I think you can beat top bottom line, come in maybe even with some nuts, sort of neutral or sort of a little positive guidance, and the street is at this juncture is disappointed.
Yep.
This is the sort of what happened with Nvidia. Um, didn't just investors just got used to these blow the doors off quarterly reports, and when they didn't come out with the latest one, it was just a reason to sell.
I'm not angry. I'm just
So
disappointed.
yeah, so we'll see what comes of this tomorrow morning. I think Marvell earnings are, um, a small, a relatively small news event compared to some other stuff that's going on that's moving the market around more. So we'll have our employment report and the jobless claims in the morning. We'll see what happens there.
Hmm.
Probably going to see a rise based on kind of what's going on with some of the layoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Marvell's technically only like a $77 billion company even now, so this
Yeah,
move is not really that significant from market cap perspective. More sentiment. I'm not really too sure how to group even within the industry Marvell's business. I'd have to do a little bit more reading, but sympathy shouldn't necessarily hit on larger chip makers based on how this one's performing.
Right.
This has never really been like a bellwether stock, so.
No.
no,
But it is breaching the expected move, which makes it really, really cool. So nothing like
yeah,
being cool in this market.
nothing like hitting that marker.
Yeah.
Nothing like hitting, nothing like hitting the fence,
Yeah, this one
as
cleared
Jared
it.
says.
When your dog
Yeah.
is 1.5 times outside, I think you have to say it's in the neighbor's yard. So
Love it.
yeah,
Jared and his dog analogies, man, and the yard. I love
hey,
it.
hey, it works. If it works, it works.
A few
Everybody
other
likes a
earnings
good
that were
dog.
out there. We did have some companies that we've looked at in the past. I know Zscaler, ZS for the
Yeah.
Americans, did have earnings, and looks like they beat their numbers. They're gapping up right now. Another one we've looked at in the past, Editas Medicine, EDIT, came out with earnings as well. They are not doing any volume, so it doesn't seem like anybody minds. But they missed their numbers, top and bottom line. What else? There's yeah, nothing else that we normally look at. I mean, a bunch of other earnings, but they're all like smaller, non-tradable companies. So just keep you updated. I don't know. Still don't know when Rigetti's numbers are going to come out, guys. I think we may, we could be waiting for a long time. Feels like that's one that unfortunately we're just not going to get the opportunity to see that volume spike and see what it does.
Yeah, agreed. So I am going to drop off now. So Marvell was certainly exciting. We'll see how we'll see how the markets react tomorrow with the numbers coming out in the morning and any more news on tariffs. Certainly, I think some of the positive news that came out on tariffs was helped propel the market higher today anyway.
Yep.
So
Agreed.
see if the
Peter, it
party
looks like
continues tomorrow.
Rigetti's numbers are out. They just didn't get a whole lot of movement.
Yeah.
Oh, are they? Hold on here. Oh yeah. Looks like you're right. Their sales missed 2.27 million versus 2.5 million. Again, I laugh just even saying it. We're talking 2 million in revenue. And then their earnings were directly on. They expected to lose 8 cents. They lost 8 cents. So, yeah, Carlos, you're right. Sorry, I didn't see that in amongst all the other headlines. So it looks like it came out at probably 4:10 would be my guess. It hit the news at 4:14. But even if you trace back the time here, yeah, it doesn't look like the market cares that much. No volume spike, really. A little bit of volume, but not much. It is moving down though right now, I guess.
Yeah, something's happening. They're not doing so hot right now.
Still, nominal move, really, considering the price of the stock. I mean, we haven't even breached the low of the market today, which would put us at 761. So, I mean, we're close, but it just means it's not like we're not even outside the bounds of today's price action. So, let alone yesterday's or the day before. You just have to go back 2 days, and we'd have to go down to about $6.60 to get below that. So. Pre-market, that is. But
That's a shame. All those calls there. I was expecting more fireworks. Doesn't mean it can't though, because we actually saw this on SoundHound. A lot of call buying at 11, and that actually happened a little bit later, maybe 2 days later.
True.
So you never really know.
Yeah.
But I'm just pointing out that most of the activity was there. So it's an ideal target if we start moving up, just to go back to 10.
Yeah, and this one gets a lot of volume, so like throughout the day. So tomorrow might be their day to actually do something. You guys remember was it Nvidia? The last big earning we had was Nvidia, and they flopped, man. We get no fireworks the day of that evening, but then remember the following day, man, it was the biggest drop we've seen in a very long time. Like it was really in play. So, might not be in play now, but tomorrow we might get our hands on this one. So we'll see.
I caught a small bounce on Marvell just now. I saw some buying in the 74.50 range, and then 75 was really heavy to get through, so it kind of popped the price. This is our bottom end for now, and it's also got some technical relevance on a weekly chart. So if it is gonna stop selling, I think this would be the spot. If it goes any lower, then it's going to be really hard to time bottoms beyond that.
Right.
But I saw some buying down there. They were just trying to lift 75 once they got to the buyers. So it took a little bit.
Okay.
A couple of questions from chat on Rigetti. So the earnings were, I think, mixed, right? In line, but they missed sales by a little bit here, which again it's a small company, right, Peter? So it doesn't really matter. What's going to matter is their guidance when they have their call, and then into tomorrow. Are they talking about, have they made any progress in their quantum situation there, right? That's the key. So we might see our fireworks tomorrow instead of today. So we'll have to see.
Right.
But yeah. All right, friends, that's it. Just these two for today. No fireworks at the moment. Marvell, you took some action on that, Jared. So nice.
Yeah.
Glad you got a nice trade on it. Still moving. Looks like it might want to go lower here. Who knows? Might be trying to find support. We'll have to see how this plays out.
Yeah, 75 would have to hold. That's where all the supply overhead was in the short term. So if they keep moving it up, this is probably just like a little bit of a reoffering to the sellers. But if you catch it low enough and it bounces back, it's still a move. So we'll see how it plays. It's already kind of giving me some heartache.
Yes, that's pulling back more than what you wanted right now. But yeah. All right, we'll see how it plays out. For sure, we'll be watching these two tomorrow, guys. Everyone have a great evening. And we'll see you first thing in the morning, 8 a.m. with Jared engineering the markets, and followed by me and Peter at 8:30. So take care, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Thank you, guys. Jared, Peter, and Brian, who's already hopped off.
Have a great evening, everyone.
Yep. Have a good one. Appreciate it.
Take care. Thanks.